Okay, so this is a Delta 6-inch joiner. I think it's from the late 30s. I'm going by the logo style there. I think that was the logo they used in the late 30s. In the 40s, kind of switched to a red circle with a delta and a slash. And then Rockwell bought them, so Delta and Rockwell on it. It's got the nice splayed legs at the bottom. The previous owner put a nice 3/4 horsepower Leeson motor on it, so that's great. The bed has some surface rust, maybe a little bit of pitting in these areas right here. Nothing really bad. Cutter head looks good, but the blades, as you would expect, are shot, so that's going to need to be replaced. The fence looks pretty good. Little scratching on it. It doesn't really stay true. Looks some adjustment needs to be made here. The good news is the pieces are here. The dual action handle still in there. Little stop blocks for the 2-angle adjustments are there. Everything in the back looks pretty good. It's missing the, looks like the gib screws are gone. 3 out of the 4 over here, 1 of the 4 over there. This handle down here is broken. That's no big deal. I can get one of those off eBay. In fact, it should be on its way this week. This one looks good. The previous owner also put a nice cover on the back for the belt. So we'll be putting that back on as well. So the goal right now is strip it down, take it all apart. It's got a few goodies like this drywall screw stuck in it, but we'll get all that apart. Get the surfaces back nice. Get some phosphoric acid to get the rust off of this. We'll paint the rest of it. It'll stay the machine tool gray. Get the new knives in it. Get it set up and it'll be ready to go. Okay, I got the fence off. There's a few interesting details on this. Yeah, this is a stop block that has for different settings. I believe this is 90 degrees. The other one was 45 degrees, and this might either be vertical or 30. This is a set screw. You can see it screws in here, and then there's another set screw here that holds the adjustment in place. It's kind of neat. The angle indicator right here is a set screw, and it comes out. And it looks like this bolt is going to come out, and that will come off. Then these screws here hold the fence onto the back, and you see it looks like this one here, unfortunately, has been broken off. So I'll need to drill a hole in that and put a screw extractor in and pull that out. Hopefully that comes out easily. Still pretty nice surfaces here. Pretty nice in the back. You can actually see some machine marks on it, so I don't think it's really had that rough of a life. And over here, you can see this is the bolt here that came out. This is where the handle screwed down on. You can see how this works. This slides pulls out. You can see it. So this slides down in this groove here, and I'll look for wear to see if maybe that's why it was rocking back and forth. I don't really see it. It could be that it's just a bunch of junk in here. A lot of sawdust came out of there and up the top here, so I think maybe that was just keeping it, maybe binding it, keeping it from being straight. A couple of disassembly notes. I tried backing these out. They come out pretty smoothly until the other end comes out, and it doesn't want to come out. I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work. But since they're painted, I don't think I'm going to take them out. I think I'm going to leave them in there, screw them in such that their threads aren't going to get paint on them, and leave it that way. The top here, I just punched this out from the back. You can see the top side has a little knurl on it. I'm going to pull that out, put that in the bag with the rest of the stuff. And then I'm going to get these screws out. Okay, so more confusion on how this actually comes out. If you look down here, you can see that it's threaded. So I would have thought that it screws out of this, but if you look closely, you can see the set screw here. I'm guessing I'll pull that out and it's going to come on out. And as usual, after taking that set screw out, it still didn't come out. But I think if we look really close down there, we're going to see there's another set screw in there. And also looks like the threads on the end of this rod have been machined off when they flatten this down, so I'm not really sure how that's going to work. Okay, so I guess the hint is that this set screw was not going to be long enough to go down in that hole, so they had two. I've seen that trick before. And with those both out, then this does easily thread out of there. So I'm going to go ahead and take this out and not drop the casting on the floor. Sort of the nut on here, shaft, this has got like a chamfered edge on it. And then there is another washer on the inside of that. So those come out. And that's what you have there. And you can see the bottom of that was machined off when they machined the back there. And then you can see probably the set screw marks. Looks like on the back of here we've got two stop points, maybe. Oh, okay, so that's interesting. So those two little things go in these two holes right down here. Neat. Okay, now we get the broken screw out of the front. I checked these other two screws here, and they came out really easy. So instead of drilling this out, I just took a little set and hit it with a hammer there, and it turns pretty easy. So I'm just going to be able to bat this out, get those two out. Next step. Okay, so those easily came out. There's the broken one. I've noticed that these actually look like they're aluminum. So not really sure why that would be, but it seems that they are. Alright, so this is a part. The fence is by itself. I think we're going to take it off to stand now, and then take the two surfaces off. Okay, so that's off. Managed not to drop it. Looks like the chute here is held on 4 screws. And at least our chute has been damaged here, so we'll be taking that out, making that flat again, and paint all that, put it back. Probably make a fitting for this, come down to the bottom so I can set it up with the dust collection system. Probably take the motor out of this next. If you look at the bottom here, looks like 2 bolts here. I'm not sure what that does. I think these 2 bolts go into the bottom, and I'm assuming that these are bronze bearings. We'll be taking that apart next. There's the handle over here. It's in good shape. This handle is broken, but the magic of eBay, of course, they have one, and I bought it, and it's on its way. Here's a better shot, that label. This is really old school. That's definitely embossed, every bit of that. That's the stupid stickers they put on things now. And then I really am thinking that that's a bronze bearing there. Another detail, the depth of cut indicator. And take this screw out. So you have screw, the little arrow indicator, and then underneath of that is a washer or a spacer, so that it brings it up so that the arrow indicator goes to the top of that. And it looks like up here, this holds the spring, the return spring for the guard. That's missing, so we'll be putting that back on, but it looks like that's what it hooks into. Okay. Looking at the back, with the in-feed side, out-feed side, you got these handles here. They unscrew off of this. I'm not completely sure how this works. So I assume that when we get the inside off, oh look, there's a spring on here. Interesting. So it looks like that maybe this pulls in that direction. I'm sure when we get the infeed and outfeed tables off, I don't know why I want to say infield and outfield, and these set screws out and look at the gib underneath, I'm sure it'll be pretty self-explanatory how that works. And of course the infeed side was missing its spring. So that's something else we need. And go ahead and take the pulley, the sheave off here. Take these gibs out, the set screws for the gibs out. And then I guess those two bolts there need to come out to slide the tables off. We shall see. Okay, I pulled these out, and it does look like that is for the gib. Come on, focus. Focus. You can see the pointed top. That pretty much tells me that's what that is. So I've turned it back over, and I found that I can slide, this would be the infeed table, I can slide that down, but when I do, it gets caught on the bearing here. So I think the bearings in the head need to come out, and then I think I can just slide both tables off. We'll give that a shot. Okay, so the cutter head is out. You can see how it came out there. And then I was sort of wrong and right. These do appear to be bronze. And it does appear to be some grease in there, but these definitely appear to be ball bearings. So it looks like, no, actually I just don't even think it's bronze. I think that just may be the grease that's on it has given it that color. So skip the whole part of the bronze bearings. Looks like these are just steel blocks. Looks like maybe a part number on that. Maybe NJ255. For the record, that's from the front of the machine. Here's the one on the back, and if I pull that off and look at that, if it's a different part number, I'll be sure to note that. Okay, another note. First, anytime you're shopping for old tools or somewhere and you see any kind of wheel puller, pulley puller, gear puller, buy it. Can't possibly have too many. If you look down in here close, see if you get it to focus on that. Okay, so you've got the outside bearing holder, and then you can see the ball bearing end of it right in there. So make sure when you put the puller on here, you only grab the outside part and don't try to get the bearing at the same time. We're going to be pulling those bearings off later, but not all at the same time. Okay, so pulled off that, obviously this is a different part number to some extent because it has the hole. This one in the back does not. That's just dried grease down there in the bottom. Same thing on this. It's not totally dry. The bearings themselves still got a little bit of grease on there. I mean, they don't rattle when it ran. They look all right. I don't know what happened here on this shaft. It looks like the set screw got in the wrong position. Maybe somebody tried to pull it off with the set screw in it. It is, wow, it is wasted. So I'll probably have to clean that up when we put it back on. I'm going to go ahead and take the knives out. Try to reduce getting cut to pieces by them. I had to take one of my open end wrenches and put it on the grinder and grind it down because it wouldn't fit in that slot. This is 5/16. I ground that down a little bit, put it in there. I noticed with just not even really, probably not even a full turn, that this whole thing got loose. And so it appears, yeah, I can't do it one-handed, but that whole thing just slides right out. Probably don't even need to get them too much looser because I think that actually defeats the purpose and you can't get them out. Okay, got one of these out. You can see how these screws go in here, and when I was taking this out, I thought maybe I had my righty-tighty, lefty-loosey backwards, but you're actually screwing the screw in, screwing it to the right, because when you put it, let's see if I can hold it here, when you put it in this slot here, you're actually backing the screw out, left, loose, to wedge that thing in there. That's how that works. So to get this back out, you actually tighten the screw, which makes the whole assembly smaller, and I was able to just slide these right out. So those are all out, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the bearings. I'm sure these are probably less than $50 to get these, so I think with it all disassembled, it makes very little sense not to just go ahead and pull these off and get new ones. But I will make sure that I can get the new ones for this model. In fact, I will wait until they get here and I will measure them to make sure that they fit. I don't want to risk messing those up, pulling them out, and then the 1930 model will be different than everyone after, and I can't get the bearings for it. Okay, so removing the in-feed and out-feed tables. I was wrong, it won't go down because even with the head out of the way, it's just going to hit the bearing casing on the bottom where that sat. So the way the jigsaw puzzle appears to work is that the out-feed table goes all the way up and out, and then the in-feed table can come up this way, and then they're both out. That was how that worked. So now we have the tables off. That's the in-feed table. So the gib for that there. There's the base there. The out-feed table there. The gib on that. And then this is a bonus. The drywall screw that was stuck in there. It kind of messed up the adjustment capability. So here's how this guy works in here. You can see it's just threaded on along right there. That basically is attached to the base, and so as you turn the handle, which is spinning these threads in here, it's going to push this that way or that way. Since it's locked onto the base, it pushes back, and the table slides up and down on the dovetail. Okay, so removing this, you get the set screw over here, and you can tap it from this side. The whole thing pulls out to here. You can see where the set screw goes in on this side. And then we're just going to thread this off, be able to pull this assembly out. Okay, so I got everything out of these. Still no idea what these little faucet handles were doing on this. This guy appears to be threaded into this side. I don't see it going back and forth. I'm not sure that moves. I guess it's possible that it would actually, if you turn this in, tighten this down, and with the gib set really close, I guess that locks it in position. It's amazing that just the flex of that, pulling that down would work. But I don't see really any other way. There doesn't seem to be anything under here that would have been attached to this. The only thing I can think is that it just squeezes this enough. Because remember, you've got these gibs. It goes on this side. You screw those in. You screw these adjustment screws on this side and move that out some to get it to where you can just barely move it up and down. And I would think you just lock those and you put it in place. So I'm not completely sure what what the faucet handles are doing on this. So that'll be something I'm going to go research. I'm going to go look and see what kind of bearings that are on here. I'll probably clean these and see if I can get a bearing number on them first. And then I was going to media blast all of this, but I don't think I am. It really looks like the paint is fine. I mean, it's not fine is I'm going to leave it like this, but I think I'm probably just going to wash this good first, and then I'm going to go back and get some of the things like some epoxy coating on here, and get acetone, clean this down with acetone. I'll probably prime it and then paint it after that, and it'll be back. And these surfaces still look really nice. I'll clean them up just a little bit, and it'll be ready to go back together. Order those bearings. Put it back together, see if you can get the fence adjusted on it, and should cut. It cut really well actually before, so I think it should be fine when it goes back together. Still got a good bit of work to do on the stand, so yeah, I got to go ahead and get this motor off, get this inner part taken out, and get that dent taken out. That should be pretty easy. This just a little bit of rust here, a little phosphoric acid on that, prep and etch. Same for the legs, and I think the feet actually have some pitting in them, so this might go in the bee blaster. Yeah, you look under here, it's got the same thing, probably a lot under the motor, so I think maybe this guy's a candidate for the bee blaster. Get him primed and painted, and probably do that next. Okay, so I measured the bearings, the front and the rear, and they are the same, so I can get those. Probably about $25, so that's not bad at all. I also looked at how this setup works, and when you clean this off a little bit and look down there, you can see, right now you can see it, there's a little slide on here. It pushes out against the gib, and you can see that's where like the bathroom sink handles push that in, so we can push that back out, and then as you tighten the handle, it pushes it in, that pushes against the gib, it puts it against the table and holds it in place. So that's the mystery to how that works. So taking this bearing off, this is off the drive side, and if you look at this, I think you can read it. It does say it's the new departure. Turn that upside down. New departure. The number is pretty difficult to read here. Yeah, okay. I think you can read that there. So this faces against the cutter head, and even with grinding my puller just a little bit, it was hard to get this back underneath this inner part of the bearing to pull it out. So it really hit along this area, which just did nothing but really to pull the bearing apart. So to get this to loosen up, I really had to take this little chisel, come down where the blades were, and just smack the back inside of that bearing just a little, just a nudge to get it going, and then I was able to use a puller to get it off the shaft. So I'm going to do that on this side. Hopefully it comes off a little bit easier. The other bearing came off without issue, so those have been removed. I've ordered the new ones. I've ordered the blades. I've gone and cleaned all these. I was thinking I might be able to avoid media blasting, but now I'm not so sure about that. There's a lot of overspray from something, maybe some painting going on in the same area. I took the base apart, the motor off. This rust at the bottom is a lot worse than I thought it was. It really looks pretty bad on the other side too. It looks like maybe this sat in the water for a while. So that's going to require some effort. The chip pan, or chip chute that was in there, ended up being damaged in multiple areas, not in just that area on the side. So I think that's just going to go away, and I'm going to make a new one. So that's going to wrap it up for part one. I'm going to get these things cleaned up further and ready for paint. That'll be part two. After that, we'll put it together and tune it, do some cuts.